Falcon fans? It's your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. So today we're gonna talk about the draft class of 2021. Yes, these guys are going into their third season, and based off these guys' progress, how does that affect the Atlanta Falcons offseason this year? We're gonna talk about it, guys. Let me know what you think. So, guys, if you have not already, go ahead. Please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys like hear what I talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in and hear me talk about these Atlanta Falcons. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about our last two draft classes. I'm going to start with the draft class of 2021. Actually, the first draft class of this new regime. And the thing about this Falcons team would make a lot of us so excited is how young this team is and how much we're depending on some of our young guys to actually show improvement, right? And we're going to start off with this first class, the 2021 draft class, and how these guys' improvement, what we expect them to do coming up this year, is going to affect the way, the team going to make some of their decisions this offseason, right? Trying to get into the mind of, our front office, our coaching staffs is trying to figure out, what they're trying to do, their mindsets, looking at the guys that got in the building first because you have to start there, and then kind of filling out what we need to go from there. So, but we're starting with our young guys first. Of course, you're going to interview some of that veterans from the other teams from the outside coming in. Some of the veterans we already had here, like a Chris Lindstrom, Caleb McGarry, Jake Matthews, AJ Terrell, all those guys definitely is part of this. But when we're looking at our young guys, our draft class, what can we expect of these guys? Like I said, I'll talk about the 2021 class today. And then next time I'll talk about last year's draft class, the 2022 class, and what we can expect from those guys. And how we think this is actually going to affect us this offseason, right? What kind of deals that they think they need to make based off some of the guys they already have in the building that's already on the contract. What kind of progress can these guys provide us to help us kind of figure out what the Atlanta Falcons are going to do? All right, so we're going to start right at the top. Kyle Pitts, right? Is no strength. Everybody know who Kyle Pitts is. But his first two seasons, of course, this season was definitely a down season. His first season, he was elected to the Pro Bowl. He had 1,026 yards. This season, he only had 356 yards. The biggest problem with Kyle Pitts is his touchdown production. He's a monster. We know he can get the ball. He's going to create mismatches and things like that. But what we don't want from Kyle Pitts is something that we definitely, what we've seen in college is him able to get touchdowns. So we don't want him to become, sort of like a Julio Jones where you dominate the numbers, but your touchdown numbers are down. Kyle Pitts has the height. He has the talent to be that red zone weapon that we can definitely use. So that's what we want to see, the growth from Kyle Pitts. We know he's going to come back and actually it's going to be better than ever. But we want to see what Kyle Pitts can be able to do going from year 2 to year 3. We know this year his numbers were down because, the lack of production from our first quarterback that we had in our Marcus Mariota. Was a lot of passes that him and Kyle Pitts just was not able to connect on. The hope is that a guy like Desmond Ridder can definitely have a better connection, sort of like the connection he had with Drake London this year. So I really believe that Kyle Pitts' production is definitely going to go up this year. Get back to what he did in his Pro Bowl season, his first season as a tight end in the NFL. And this third season, he'll be able to hone his craft even more. And big skies, sky's the limit for a guy like Kyle Pitts. Number 4 overall draft pick. We really need to see Kyle Pitts make that big jump from year 2 to year 3. Next is Richie Grant, right? Richie Grant actually did not start one game his first season. Actually, it was kind of tough for Richie Grant to actually get on the field, right? He played a lot of special teams in his first season. But then you come to this season and Richie Grant actually started every game. You could see the improvement from the year 1 to year 2. He was out there. He had a big contribution 2 interceptions, 58 tackles. Richard Grant really had a lot of improvement. Depending on what the Atlanta Falcons are going to actually do at that safety position, we talked about a guy like Jesse Bates. If the Bengals do not franchise tag him, because he's one of the franchise tag candidates for that team, definitely the Falcons could pursue a guy like that to go along with Richard Grant, right? So you put that young guy with a veteran guy in that safety backfield. Those guys be interchangeable. I like that. But production from Richie Grant from year 1 to year 2 was really good. Everybody had a lot of high hopes for Richie Grant when he was drafted in 2021. Like I said, started out slow, but you can see the progression from Richie Grant. And like I said, from year 1 to year 2, it really improved throughout the season. And I think Richie Grant is only going to get better going from year 2 to year 3. Our next guy, Jalen Mayfield. This could be the one guy in the draft that the Atlanta Falcons probably got a bust on, picking Jalen Mayfield that high. We talked about his first season, at the left guard position. Don't think he was actually supposed to be the starting left guard, but due to injuries, he had to come in, and he had a really bad first season, to say the least. Had the most penalties at that position. And then to come out this next season, was going out, compete for his job, and actually got injured, was put on the IR, and never seen the field again. So, the jury is still out on Jalen Mayfield. Don't know what he's going to be able to do here going forward. But as we know right now, Jalen Mayfield is still on the roster. We'll just have to see what the Atlanta Falcons decide to do with a guy like Jalen Mayfield. Show potential. A lot of people saying that it was a reach, for the Falcons to take him at that position. Played right tackle in college, but some people thought maybe he would have to come inside, and that's what the Falcons did. They brought him inside to play guard, and the first season did not go so well. Hopefully, going from year 2 to year 3, had a lot of uptime. We don't know how much, reps and practice time that Jalen Mayfield was able to get. So we'll just have to see what's going to happen with Jalen Mayfield. Next guy, Darren Hall, have played a lot of snaps for the Atlanta Falcons. Actually started 10 games for the Atlanta Falcons, has 72 tackles. Darren Hall is a guy that you just want in your secondary to come in. Not a starter, but somebody, if one of your starters do go down, can play spot minutes for you. Good depth piece to have at the cornerback position. Really impressed with Darren Hall has been able to do. Played a lot of snaps this season, 9 starts because of the injuries we had at the cornerback position. So a guy like that, Darren Hall, is a good guy to have on your squad. That depth, because you're going to need, the more depth you have at the position with the NFL experience like Darren Hall has, it's really going to be good for us. Next big signing is Taquan Graham. Taquan Graham showed a lot of improvement from his year 1 to year 2. Being inside Grady Jarrett, he actually played a little bit different role this year. He played a lot of end last year. This year he played more inside. 49 tackles, 3 tackles for a loss. He actually started 14 games his career so far. He got injured. I felt like when he actually went out the game this season, it kind of hurt our run defense. And Grady was kind of by himself again. Some of those guys came in. They played admirably. But at the end of the day, I think Taquan Graham was missed. And I can't wait to see his growth from what he's able to do from this year to next year, because I think it's only going to get better from what he showed us. His point of attack not being able to get moved in that middle, taking on double teams sometimes. Taquan Graham really showed his presence in the middle of the field this year. You go back and look at some of the plays. I think Brian Baldinger highlighted some of the plays that Taquan Graham made on that defensive line this year. Stood out a lot of games, several games that he played. So that jump from year 1 to year 2 was really good for Taquan Graham. Next guy, Antetokounmpo Okendeji. Of course, he had a lot of promise, coming into this season. I thought he took a step back, but on Okendeji actually played, started most of the games this season again alongside Lorenzo Carter. He got 75 total tackles, 3 sacks, in his career so far. Like I said, he's 27 starts. So Okendeji has played a lot of football. That jump from year 2 to year 3 is definitely going to be big for him. His extension, long arms, and things like that. Definitely a good depth piece for the Atlanta Falcons. The more of these kind of guys we got on the team, it's definitely going to be big for us. So I like what Okendeji was being able to do, but I definitely believe that Okendeji is going to have to make a jump this offseason to be able to help us, go to where we want to be with that defensive line. All right, next guy, Avery Williams. This guy here is really special guy if you think about it. His first season played cornerback position, and then switched over this season to playing running back. Just a great athlete to have on your team. Led the league in punt return yardage this year. 16.2 yards average on the punt returns, which, like I said, was best in the league. 445 yards total over the 2 careers in punt return. That's really impressive for a guy like Avery Williams. He actually showed us a little different speed in the backfield as well. So being the first year, being a running back, in the NFL, really showed promise of some of the things he can do. Guy that can catch the ball out the backfield. Like I said, different type of back to be back there with our 2 bruisers and Cordell Patterson and Tyler Algier. So Avery Williams was a good fit. I thought his switching to running back was a good thing for him and the coaching staff to do that. And I think it maybe prolonged his career in the NFL, showing that versatility that he was able to show this offseason. So Avery Williams is definitely hopefully going to show more progression this season as well. Last but not least, Frank Darby, Mr. Funny Man, of course got cut, but he played. He was on our practice squad all season. Not really getting a lot of play time. Of course, 6th-round pick guy coming in, trying to show that he had the abilities to play in this league. Definitely probably going to be back this year to try to get a roster spot again in the receiver position. Hopefully he can make that jump from year 2 to year 3. We don't know if Frank Darby is going to get opportunity, but like I said, good locker room guy. But in the NFL, you got to be able to play. Did play a lot of snaps on special team his first season with the Atlanta Falcons. So some guys are just special team guys, and those guys are able to stay in the league for a long time. So if Frank Darby can, get him a niche and grow him a role in special teams, to be able to stay in the NFL and on the Atlanta Falcons, that's what he need to do. Be a star in your role, that kind of thing. So, like I said, good locker room guy, good guy to the Falcons to keep, long as it's not detriment to, bringing in another roster spot that we need. So, guys, that's our 2021 draft class. Of course, we had undrafted guys. I did not list on this list to just talk about the official draft, but all these guys came in and contributed in some way, some fashion. Even Jalen Mayfield coming in, playing the whole season, getting baptized that season. But this is the list, and these are the type of guys. This class and last year's class is definitely why a lot of us, and I think the regime is really excited about the potential of the Atlanta Falcons, because these guys are young. We know they're gonna only get better. Some of these guys still got time before we have to actually, cough up the funds to pay some of these guys. And then if we go out and do what we need to do in the offseason to add to this list, I think he's really, really going to help us very well. Looking at a guy like Kyle Pitts, kind of let you know what they need in their tight end room. I think our tight end room is set, especially with Kyle Pitts, Parker Hesse, McCole Pruitt, right? And then our rookie that we drafted from Georgia. So those four guys, I think, gonna be our tight end room this year. I didn't forget about Felipe Franks. Be interesting to see what they do with Felipe Franks. As our safety room, we talked about that. Jalen Hawkins is still here, but they bring in another playmaker in the safety room. That would be great. That left guard position is still a work in progress. We don't know what's going to happen with that. Darren Hall, like I said, depth at the cornerback position. Always can use that. Taquan Graham coming in, just improving what he did last year, adding to that defensive line. That's their number one priority this year is to do something with the defensive line. Okendeji, that pass rush, being that defensive end out there, setting the edge on the run game. That's what we need for him. Hopefully he can show some improvement with his long reach with his arms. Avery Williams keep doing the things he's doing. Only can get better. Then see can Frank Darby bust his way on the team at least in special teams, right? And add that to the offseason. So this is, like I said, trying to get into the minds of our front office, our coaching staff. This is what we got on paper. What can we add to help these guys out to be the best version of themselves this year in 2023? So, guys, let me know what you think about the 2021 draft class. What's your grade for these guys now that you have seen them for 2 years? I'm going to say a B plus so far. I think Kyle Pitts, Richie Grant, Taquan Graham, Avery Williams. That's pretty good out of draft to have some guys that started a lot of games for you and have shown a lot of production. And if they could hit again like that in this upcoming draft, we'll talk about 2022 draft next video. And I think we on the right track. So definitely want to hear what you guys got to say. B plus for me from this 2021 draft. Let's see what the Atlanta Falcons can do in this offseason to add to this class. And this is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.